What's up, my frequent flyers and all those casual passerbyers and everybody in between? This is Dr. Darren, and today we're going to be going over some stuff you didn't realize you needed to know. We're going to be covering 5 myths about hair. 1, wearing a hat causes your hair to thin. No! 2, Rogaine actually helps you regrow hair.
No.
3, balding comes from your mother's father.
Not on your Nelly.
4, stress makes you get gray hairs.
No.
And my favorite, number 5, that cutting the end of your hairs actually stimulates hair growth.
Boy, have you lost your mind, because I'll help you find it.
All right, so we're going to do a little backstory to this video. Really, why on earth would I care enough to make a video about hair myths? If you're interested about the backstory of this video, keep watching. If not, go to the 2-minute and 50 mark to cover all the myths. And really it goes back to the beginning of COVID. Now, because of COVID, especially in the emergency department, I have had to wear what we call personal protective equipment, right? Masks, N95s, big headgear, big old covers. And so my head and my face and basically my whole body is the majority of the time covered up. So because of this, doing my hair really became optional to a certain extent. It's like, you know, my wife shaving in the winter. She's wearing pants all the time, so what's she got to shave for? That tied with, I've never grown my hair out in my entire life. There was specific and pretty critically important moments in my life. Things like job interviews, volunteer missions, medical interviews, residency training and interviews, and professional job interviews once I graduated residencies. And all those moments, I wanted to be clean cut. Now, because of COVID, I'm covered up all the time. I'm in a groove. I've always wanted to grow my hair out, so I decided to grow my hair out. So that's the first part. Second part, as I started to grow my hair out, my wife said something that I've heard before, okay? Myth number 5. And she said, you know what, Darren, we need to trim your ends so that it will grow longer. And I said, oh, okay, because I trust my wife, because her grandmother was a hairdresser. My wife, after graduating BYU, she went to beauty school. She knows lots about hair care. But even though I believed her, I didn't. Something inside me, it didn't click. It didn't make sense to me. And that set me down this rabbit hole of what we know about hair and what are the common myths that we believe. Myth number 1, wearing a hat will cause baldness. Now, at first glance, we think, yeah, this makes sense, because if I'm putting my hat on and off over years and decades of my life, that can lead to baldness. False, okay? Now, why this is false is because we got to understand the structural components of hair, okay? Hair's major structural component is what's called keratin. It's a protein that our body produces to give structural integrity, right? It is made to take abuse. Do you know where else we find keratin? In our spirit fingers, our uñas, our fingernails, and our skin, right? Our body produces cells at the basal layers of the skin and the nails, and as it continues to grow, that surface that is hard and dead, okay, gets pushed towards the outer layer. That includes our hair. Our hair is dense and it's made with keratin. The growth, the health, and the regeneration of hair does not, I repeat, does not relate at all to any external pressure on the hair strands itself. We don't lose our fingernails because we wear gloves too many times in the winter, or because we type too much, or because we spend too much time playing Tickle Monster with our kids. No, they are built for wear and tear, and that includes our hair. So I say, you got an accessory, a favorite hat, man, wear on. Wearing a hat will not cause hair loss. Myth number 1, debunked. Myth number 2, stress causes gray hairs. Double X. No, that is a myth, and let me tell you why. Color of our hair is much like our skin. At the very bottom of your hairs, there exists what are called melanocytes. These are cells that produce melanin. This is the same hue and pigment that gives us our skin tone, okay? And that is what gives us our hair color. Now, depending on your genetics and what you inherited, you're going to be coded to have different types and levels and hues of melanin. When we begin to have gray hairs, it has nothing to do with stress, and it has everything to do with our age, okay, and our genetic predisposition for when that melanin and when those melanocytes run out of code to code for that melanin. Has nothing to do with stress and everything to do with melanocytes. Stress is part of life, and yeah, you might pull your hair out, but your mama telling me that, oh, look at all these gray hair you gave me. False. Myth 2 debunked. Myth number 3, balding comes from your mother's father. That is incorrecto. To fully understand why this is false is we have to understand how chromosomes and genetic inheritance works. Each human contains 23 pairs of chromosomes. These chromosomes code for everything that who we are, the color of your hair, the length and size of your pinky toe. It also will code for your baldness gene. Not a real thing. They used to believe that the baldness was associated with what's called the androgen receptor gene, or the AR gene, which was on the X chromosome. That is why we believe that it was inherited from your mother. After they've looked at it extensively, that they have found almost over 50 to 60 additional genes that code for baldness that are found through the Y chromosome. So, can you get that balding pattern from your mother's father? Yes, but is it only from them? No. You can get it from your father's mother's father, or your father's 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 mother's father, okay? Or your mother's mother father, okay? Who knows? But you do get it from family. But does it directly and only come from your mother's father? Incorrectly. So can you look at a picture of your mother's father and say, oh, that's what my hair is going to look like? No, you cannot confidently. Potentially, but not 100%. Myth number 4, Rogaine can fix balding. Oh, man. No, okay? Rogaine is a, it's like Nike, okay? It is a trademark name. The drug is actually called minoxidil, okay? And they actually don't know its exact mechanism of action. What they believe is that it increases the blood flow to that hair follicle. And if you have blood flow to a hair follicle, they believe that cell regeneration is going to be healthier, the strength of your hair is going to be greater, but it only can potentially work on a hair follicle that is currently existing. If you are bald, okay, do not have hair in that area, it cannot cause new hair growth. Myth number 4, debunked. Myth number 5, frequent trims of your hair will stimulate hair growth. Okay, to debunk this myth, we have to understand what stimulate means and what stimulation actually refers to. If you were to stimulate hair growth, you would have to have an input, something that causes stimulation. You would have to have a mechanism of receiving and interpreting that stimulation and then causing a response. The myth is, I cut my hair, it is interpreted, hair follicle is then stimulated and it grows. That's the myth. In order to have that system, you have to have an active blood supply and an active nervous system that extends to the area of the damage. That does not exist. Past the skin layer, the visible portion of the hair, it is a dead organism. No cutting will cause any stimulation of any hair growth. Myth debunked. I hope you enjoyed this. This entire video was really just about me kind of geeking out about some stuff that I didn't really know. And I enjoyed researching some of the medical foundational truths about hair and the myths that we as a society, and I've grown up hearing my whole life. So it's been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I gotta go. Consider, if you don't, subscribing. If you like this content, watch some of my other videos. If it's worth your time, hit that subscribe button, bell notification. All right, knuckles, noggin, butterbug kisses, squid fingers.